My name is Clare Gray, and I am a finish operator in student crafts, ceramics department, and student crafts.
I am assistant manager over at the Loghouse Craft Gallery.
Sorry. My major is middle grades math education.
I am a theater major with a music minor.
Well, I play fiddle.
I think it's very beneficial to have a job while going through school.
You know, I'm very proud of what I do.
It's just to see all this work of art and know that you're part of it.
It's also kind of exciting when you walk by and you see something that you made sitting in the window for sale and somebody's picking it up, commenting on it.
In a way, we are the face of Berea College.
To hold one of the fine pieces produced by Berea's student craftspeople is to know something about time. The intricate pattern of the weaving shows the time and love given by its maker. In the grain of a walnut or cherry wood basket, years can be counted, one by one, to when the tree from which the basket was cut was a mere sapling in the forest. The story of dedicated craftsmanship in these hills and hollows, however, can be traced back much further than that sapling. Much further even than the college itself. The Hopewell people, who inhabited this place as far back as the 1st century AD, are notable on many accounts, with fine artisanship not least among them. The centuries that followed saw the arrival of European settlers in the region, many of whom were talented artisans. The scourge of slavery brought African peoples who, in spite of, and sometimes in response to the atrocities visited upon them, contributed to the artistic foundations of the region. Like the iconic quilt so often associated with mountain culture, the genre is a patchwork of the contributions of a very old and diverse group of people. In 1855, decades before the Civil War, the Reverend John G. Fee took a stand against the injustice of slavery and for the dignity and educational rights of the people of Appalachia. In the single-room schoolhouse he founded, students with black skin and white were educated side by side.
We shall be stable and prosperous by virtuous action, stand as a beacon to the world, and continue a fountain of good until liberty, enrobed in light, shall wave her lovely flag triumphant over every land. John Fee.
As the school grew and matured, a labor program was established and students began to work for the school in a variety of ways. The first craft program was formalized by William Frost, who became president of the college in 1892. Upon arrival, Frost traveled the region extensively. He met many of the local craftspeople and was taken with their skill and artistry. From their work, Frost saw a new direction for Berea's labor program and for the preservation of a unique art form. Across the country, a revival of interest in folk art was brewing, and Frost established Berea as a central player in that revival by creating the first official weaving program, Fireside Industries, in 1896.
We do not wish to introduce forms of weaving which are new and foreign to the people here, but to encourage and develop the forms which have been handed down by tradition. William Frost.
The years that followed were turbulent for Berea College. 1904 saw the arrival of the Day Law, which challenged Berea's history of co-racial education. By order of the law, which stood in spite of numerous appeals until 1950, Berea was forced to segregate its student population, establishing a separate school near Louisville, Kentucky for its African American students. In spite of the hardships of the Day Law, the craft program continued to grow. A woodworking program grew out of the college's cabinetry shop. Broomcraft, ceramics, and needlecraft programs flourished as well, and each one is still practiced at Berea today. After all, the spirit embodied in these crafts is not a fragile one, likely to bend or break under adversity. Rather, it has been forged by hardship. From the Hopewell, to the Scotch-Irish, to the African-American, life in these hills has never been easy, but through the tradition of crafting, it has always been beautiful. Although the tools have evolved over the years, although the students dress a little differently than they used to, that tradition lives on at Berea, and the connections to the past are well remembered.
My name's Myra, and I work in ceramics department and student crafts. I'm from Nashville, Ohio. There's just a lot of Amish population there. Most of the business is from tourism. But there was a potter down the road from my dad that was kind of an influence. She had a wood kiln, and she let me come over to her place, and she had an extra wheel, and she'd let me throw and taught me some stuff, and that was really encouraging. And by that point, I was already going to try to join the Berea crafts section. And so she kind of boosted my confidence and was like, yeah, you can throw, you should try that, you can do it. I think that culture and crafts and music and all of that culture, I guess, entails is really important to a region that you're trying to show people the value of. So showing them the crafts that come out of the region and the music, it's a way of saying, look at all the things that are good about this place and why we should preserve it. Just the other day, Chris Miller over at the Appalachian Gallery brought in this big photo of the ceramic studio in the 70s. I was just kind of looking at all the people in the picture and looking at all of us now and trying to see the similarities and the differences, and the hair's all longer and they all kind of look like hippies. A lot of things I think that stayed the same in the ceramic studio over the years, and we changed the procedures, the process of how we keep track of things, but in the pottery and how you make it's all the same. Probably my favorite part of ceramics is just throwing the pots and coming up with new designs. But there's a lot of little steps in the process along the way. There's certain forms that we have to throw, like the Berea mugs that are stamped and they're all a certain way. And there's certain bowls that we throw that are glazed all the same. And then sometimes we just have mugs that we can throw however. And we've been doing more of the variety mugs lately, so there's been more creativity involved in it. I definitely think about who makes products, or if it doesn't seem to have been generated from a person. Look at the flaws with a little bit more appreciation, I guess. I'm always analyzing coffee shop mugs. This handle could have been a little different.
My name is Jen Salyer, and I am the student manager at Broomcraft. I have been a broom maker for almost 3 years now. It's very creative. As a collective, everyone in the shop gets to put in their 2 cents of new brooms that we might be able to make, or just different things that we can add on to old brooms that we don't make anymore to bring something back. We try to keep it traditional. In a typical day, we would roll brooms, braid brooms, finish off the brooms. You need to stitch the brooms as well. Every year, one student gets to go to Japan for, it's a sister city delegation, and I was the lucky one who got to go last year, and we spend 10 days in Japan. 2 of the days we work at the Paul Rush Memorial Festival. He brought highland agriculture to Japan, and he did a lot for Japan during the times after World War II. I loved it there. We visited Paul Rush's house, and he had some hearth sweeps on his fireplace, and it was really neat to see how it's still like the same broom, but how much it's changed over the years, and just like simple little differences that the different supervisors have changed on each broom.
My name is Terence Witherspoon. I am assistant manager over at the Loghouse Craft Gallery. Yes, it has been a true experience because it is my first job. And for it to be within my major, it's given me skills with people, knowing certain things like how to manage decisions, and really just taking responsibility in general. The Loghouse Craft Gallery sells the arts and crafts that students make, such as the furniture, the weavings, the brooms, and furniture like tables, desks. It's just almost a new day. You see a new craft that they made that out of this, or just the way something is formed, and the fact that you get to see people come in and see that creativity, and one, you're new to it too, so it's a really good just experience just to see all this work of art and know that you're part of it, saying like, okay, they make it, but it's my job to sell it to the people, to give it to the people. It creates a great environment of responsibility to where you really have to show your true colors and show that you got to do what you got to do. And as a college student, I think that is great preparation for this new coming world, to where getting a job ain't as easy as just showing your college degree. I don't think I would have this kind of experience at any other school that I've seen. The fact that, one, it has such a long history, over 100 years, that the Log House has been doing the exact same thing, from first being the exact same spot to where arts and crafts was made, but now being a part of this legacy that you're selling the stuff that people before you have done. It's really a mind-blowing experience just to learn this. It's not an easy job, but the fact that you're holding on to this legacy, it gives you a good thing to be proud of.
My name is Joseph Cross, and I am an apprentice weaver at Fireside Weaving. I actually live in a place called Disappointment Hollow, 2.5 miles up a gravel road, very isolated at times, but it's the most beautiful place I've ever been. I had never actually woven when I came to Berea College, though my mother was a basket weaver, and one of her friends is actually a artisan weaver from my community, but all that she does is mainly rugs, which it turns out to be what I ended up doing here. But all of my training happened for the most part, in 2 weeks' time. And by the time that was over with, I was weaving rugs. Constantly. With weaving, we have a different policy for our products. We actually place tags on each product that is woven by a single person. With the baby blankets, the couch throws, the rugs, items of that nature, every single one has a weaver's name matched up with it. It is very wonderful, in my opinion, to have your name linked up with a product that you have made. It's a moment of pride, in a way, especially when you work at Scott's, because you can often actually meet the person who buys your product, and you can make a connection with that individual, and they can match a name up with a face, and they really actually get to meet the person who wove the product that they're buying. I am a theater major with a music minor, and in a way, I do actually find connections between my work and my classes. I'm actually focusing primarily on acting, but my secondary focus in my major is on costume design. So I am more familiar with fabrics than I was before I started working here, but in a way, the fact that I am working in a visual art, it has brought the third of the three major art forms into my life. Theater, music, and visual arts. So now I have basically a holistic lifestyle in the arts.
My name is Clare Gray, and I am a finish operator in student crafts, but my primary position is in woodcraft. The classification of a finish operator is to basically apply finish and lacquer to our wood products so we can either sand them or ship them out to the vendors. It was a challenge to learn, how much is too much lacquer and how to apply it to certain things. I started off with a basic square piece of wood, and my supervisor taught me how to do it on those, and then it got tricky once we started doing baskets and Skittles games with all the corners and things. I want to be a theater director for a high school, so I know that they don't always have a budget to have, a scene producer or a lighting producer, so I have to do all of that. And so I definitely think working in woodcraft would provide me with experience in set building, because then, I can make my own chairs, I can make my own tables for sets. I wouldn't have to go find something that's period style if I know that I can make it. I think of working in woodcraft more as art, but at the same time it is a job, just because it's something I physically have to do. I have to be there, but I would do it
anyway, even if it weren't a job. But I definitely consider it more as an art form, just because it's a means of expression and starts from cutting down the tree, going through the lumber yard before we even get it. There are many different hands that a piece passes through, and a lot of different stories going into one piece of product.
I don't think that Claire's feeling of connection with her fellow student craftspeople is a rare one. It can be heard most any day from students in the various craft studios and galleries at Berea, and it can be felt in the crafts they make. All people of the earth and all the things they do are connected in some way, but the students, staff, and faculty of Berea go one step further. They recognize this connection and bend its power to the service of their institution, their fellow students, and the greater community. Stronger than fasteners or glue, it binds them together to a shared history, to a tradition of dignified service, and to a future of excellence.